So, one of the most frequent questions is about my enemy setup. I use it for the group frames and warring frames. And in the warring frames it's quite large because I haven't figured out a way to separately define the size of these squares. But since I don't do a lot of warring scale fighting, it's fine for me. It works for me in cities. So, what did I do? The unit frames, I basically took the Winnie UI as a baseline and stole all of this shit. It's basically all these buffs here, which I disabled and enabled depending on what I wanted, and then I just added on top of it all the stuff I wanted. So with the new version of Enemy, it's possible to show a timer within the effects. You can do this here, text scale enable, and then set your text scale appropriately, whatever size you want. Otherwise it's just not anything different than from other enemy setups. You just need some time to put the buffs where you want them and so on. The size of the enemy frames you can define here in the visual parts down here, and you just basically set the size to whatever you want. If you want squares, then you set the size to something equal. In this instance I took 106. I don't quite remember why I didn't take just flat out 100. I think it was something with the background and highlighting and something. Yeah, but I will upload my enemy settings for you somewhere, so you don't have to start from 0 if you want a similar looking UI. Yeah, the growth direction is set here in the appearance tab. It goes to the right for 2 instances, and then it goes down for the rest, and the padding is the distance between, and this is just a bit of experimentation. What fits all the buffs in there. So that's it about enemy. I think for the most part. I don't think I use it for anything else. Oh, okay, I still use the group icons, but there are other items that you can use. I don't use a guard, I don't use time scenario, I don't need it. Kill spam doesn't really interest me anyway, so yeah, so that's it for enemy. The hostile target and the friendly target I did with beams. So I used here the Amethyst SM Smooth texture, and I disabled the effects of the pure target that brings pure with it. Instead I use dark buff for the effects, and I have 5 frames in total, even though I'm thinking about if I really need the friendly head frames, because I noticed that if you're standing at 100 feet and your friendlies are just blobbing together, you can't recognize anything anyway, so they are pretty pointless, so I just might as well just remove them. So for the hostile target, I have 2 frames. One is to show basically just all effects with no additional filters, and then I have another frame which shows what I call important effects. And what is important here for me is all the stuff I put on the enemy, and then different lists of abilities such as morales, heal debuffs, detours, and so on. And these lists, I basically stole them from the Yak UI back in the day, still on live. I worked with Yak quite a lot, and he basically created a list with all morale abilities in the game. The same for heal debuffs. and other important abilities. But you can also find similar lists on the forum and create your own lists. What I find is pretty neat about Dark Buff is pretty easy to get a new buff into your filters. For example, it has these 3 target lists, and if I just, when an opponent has an effect on it, on himself, I can just click on the list, and if I refresh that list, it has a dot now, it has a dot on itself, and I could just boost it to another list and say, okay, right here, I want this effect in there, and then it will be automatically applied to all the frames that have this list in its filters. Alright, I mean, the same is true for the friendly target. Here I have just like one frame, so they track most of the important stuff over the enemy frame, or over the enemy group frames. So this is basically just to show me if I have my pots up and so on. And then I have another frame called self-important. That's basically my self buffs that I have, buffs that I have myself. So it's just replaces basically the head frames you would get from Buffhead, for example. Yeah, so that's it about Dark Buff. This add-on here is called Miracle Grow Light. It's just a cultivating add-on. Yeah. What else? I have this add-on here that shows me in what Zealot stand I am. That's pretty neat. If you're Zealot or Rune Priest, because your animation sometimes gets stuck and you don't know in which stance you are, which can be pretty confusing. So this just displays the stance and what you are. And then this green flash you see here, the green flash is tells me that my rituals are off cooldown, and this blue screen flash shows me when I cast speed proc from the Vanquisher set is up, or for the quickness proc from the stuff on the Archmage. I think I have another screen flash if a target is stagger immune or immune to staggers. It doesn't work. Yeah. No, it's yellow because the flashes are overlapping. And now I have a red flash that JC basically told me, okay, he's immune to stagger, so I don't need to waste anything there. I prefer the screen flashes instead of icons because I tend to ignore the icons after a certain amount of time. I can't make them obnoxious enough to remember, and the screen flashes are just a great way for me to passively absorb the information that I need. Alright, hotbars are done with textured button, which basically just allow you to, I don't know what's the textured button, let's see, yeah, the textures I use the SMT skin 1 apparently. Yeah, nothing too crazy here to see. My 5th hotbar is currently here on the side, and I stole another add-on from the Win UI. It's called Hide Bar, that allows you to hide basically one action bar until you hover over it. I think that's pretty neat if you're into like clean UIs and such. On top I have Warboard with a few basic togglers, and maybe one more add-on is worth showing because a lot of people don't know it. It's called Vectors. That allows you to set your hotbar or set UI elements in reference to each other, so you don't need to use a layout editor. Instead, you can just, for example, stick these action bars to each other and then just reference them off themselves. For example, I reference this action bar off the root. I think I referenced the other shit off all of it, so I could just now move my entire UI up and down. Well, not my entire UI, but this is the bottom section of the UI, and it's just a bit more clean than probably what you can do with a layout editor. That's a pretty cool add-on as well. Alright, the map is CMap, the standard alternative map mode. Alright, so let's go through the add-on list. What else do I have? KAs, Anywhere Trainer, pretty standard stuff. So I can just check my masteries, and it's pretty neat if you're starting a new class and you don't know what the fuck is going on. Renown Trainer doesn't really work, I think, but you can just check it in your listed on there, so it's kind of pointless actually. Well, not Renown Trainer, but this button here. Alright, distort your CMap, nothing too spectacular. Tidy roll, yeah, standard stuff. Anyway, train our settings care for core functions. Bit of a cleansing body is an add-on I'm working on myself. It's not quite ready yet. Showed dark buff. Effigy is just more assets. Enemy I showed, and Harbinger I showed. Hide bar is this thing here that hides the bar, of course. Hopper is the thing that you sometimes see up here. You can just jump around scenarios and scenario parties more quickly. Then a bunch of libraries. Miracle Grow Light for this thing here. Moth is the hover over information here, as you can see here. No useless mods, also pretty standard in rarity. So basically shows you the color frame around the icon based on the rarity of the item. Obsidian is the cast bar. So this thing here, that's the Obsidian. I showed pure shinies in auction house add-on. Probably most people know it. Solo queue doesn't work anymore, so I could disable that. Stutdoor remix is if I do get stats on myself. I think get stats. I need to write it like this. Get stats. Like this. So it basically just shows the information is displayed here in the chat a bit more convenient. Swift assist, pretty standard stuff, so you can quickly set your assist marker on someone, tether for guard, obviously. Text chat button I showed, tidy chat, standard stuff. Token machine, yeah, just lets you to customize your need and greed setting a bit more convenient. Vectors I showed, wallboard, standard stuff. And then the Wrath of Heroes Recticle. That's the targeting frame here around. And some pop light instead of the what's it called? Instead of realm. It's just a bit smaller and more compressed information. Alright, I think that's all. Thank you for tuning in, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will see if I can answer them. Thank you.